Hello, this is the demo for PLO and Michael Sam's Sections Insight C3 front-end server. We're going to start by starting the server with yarn start. Once the server has been started, we can head over to localhost to see our front-end implementation. We'll be using the inspect network tool to see the calls between the front end and the back end of our server API. According to the Sections Insight specification, the user should be able to add a sections dataset, and it will provide feedback if either the dataset ID or the dataset content is invalid, and a success message if it is added successfully. So, if I were looking to add a section named UBC using the pair content provided to us, we will see that we'll have a success message, and when looking at list dataset, UBC has been successfully added. If I were to try to add another dataset with the same name UBC, we would receive an invalid dataset error because of the name has already been taken. And if the name was changed to be unique, but our content was invalid, such as with this empty section content.zip, we will also receive an invalid dataset error saying that the dataset content was not valid itself. Now I'm going to add a couple more datasets to allow for a better sample size for our upcoming presentations. According to the Sections Insight specification, a user should also be able to remove a sections dataset, receiving updates that the dataset has been successfully removed. Here, we're able to enter an ID. So in list dataset, we can see that we currently have four datasets available: sections, UBC, pair, and PIA. If I was looking to remove the dataset named PIA, I could type it here and hit delete, in which case we receive a success message, and we can see that PIA is no longer one of the available datasets. A user is able to view added datasets, displaying the ID of each added dataset. That can be done by heading over to this tab list dataset, in which we can see the IDs of all the added datasets, as well as what kind they are and the number of rows currently inside them. Dataset insights allow a user to gain insight into the added datasets with the help of visual aid. So in our case, we have three visual graphs available: line graph, bar chart, and pie chart. Heading over into line graph, we can choose a dataset that we want to look at, such as sections, and we can choose a department within them. For example, let's say that we want to look at the Italian department. Then we can choose a course title, such as First Year Italian, and we can submit. These call a query to receive information about the Italian department and the first year Italian course. And from this line graph, we can get a look at the historical average over the years. With bar chart, we can do the same thing. We can select a data set, select a department, and a course title. Submitting it, we can get another look at the average grades between instructors. So for example, let's say that I wanted to take a look at Spanish, beginner Spanish. These are the various instructors who have taught in beginner Spanish, and we can see what their average grades are between each instructor. For pie chart, we select sections. Let's say that we want to look at the COGS department and the Intro to COGS systems. Here we can get a pie chart of the pass to fail to audit ratio, where we can get more information on the number of students who have passed, failed, and audited the course historically within this dataset. Now, moving on to user stories implemented by me and Michael Sam. We will start with Michael Sam's user stories, which is the ability to delete the dataset without typing the ID. As a user, I want to delete a dataset with just the press of a button, so I don't need to remember the dataset ID I want to delete. And so we can head over to list dataset, and using these buttons here, we are able to delete a section without having to remember the ID to use remove dataset. So for example, if I wanted to delete UBC, I can delete it, and it's no longer here. And we can see that if I tried to add another section named UBC, this will be a success because the dataset has been successfully deleted through list. Michael Sam's next user story is to be able to generate insight graphs from the dataset. As a user, I want to choose a dataset from my roster and see graphs or charts so that I can gain insights on the datasets that I added. Here we can see that with the line graph, bar chart, and pie chart. Next, the third user story from Michael Sam is to highlight key features of graph and charts. As a user who's not versed in statistics, I want to be able to immediately see an interesting trend about the visualization that I generated so that at a glance I can gain insight outside of my own investigation. If we were to look at bar chart, we can see that this sentence down here provides interesting summarizing information about the instructor with the highest course average. In pie chart, we can see a percentage of pass to fail to audit. And in line graph, we can see the years with the largest gap in averages. Moving on to PLO's user stories, we have user story 1. As a student, I want to be able to filter a dataset of all UBC courses to show only courses from a specific department or professor. Moving into filter by prof or department, we enter the section ID that we want to look at, in this case sections, and the name of the professor or department. So for example, let's say we want to look at the CPSC department. We can select department here and we can submit, and this will provide all of the sections within the CPSC department. However, let's say I'm not interested in department, I want to find a professor instead. We can find all the professors with the name Pat by inputting the name Pat, selecting prof and submitting, and here we can see a list of all the courses with professors with Pat in their name. The next user story from PLO is to filter by numerical statistics. As a student, I want to be able to filter a dataset to only show courses with certain numerical statistics for pass, fail, and average. We can head to filter by stats and enter a section ID. Then, let's say that we want to find all courses that have an average that is greater than 97. Submitting that, we can see all the courses and their professors that have an average greater than 97. As well, we can take a look at pass less than. I want to find a course that has less than 5 passing, and as well we can get all their information. And let's say fail equal to, I want to find all the courses that have a fail equal to 2, 3, 0. I think the professors at UBC are too good, and let's see, less than. This because this is using the query, this will also return an error if any errors happen within the query itself. In this case, less than 10, it returns more than 5,000 results, and so we run into an error. The final user story from PLO is to get summarizing info by group. As a student, I want to be able to group a dataset by professor or course ID and get summarizing information on each group. You can head to group by prof/ID, enter in the section we're looking at, the name of the department, which is, in this case, let's say CPSC, and let's say I want to group by professor. After submitting that, I can see which professors have taught how many courses and their maximum average, their minimum average, the average, and the average pass and fail rate as well. And using this information, I can get at a glance which professors have a higher minimum average than others. Or let's say I'd like to look at it by course ID. Submitting this, we can see that 110 has had historically 58 classes with a minimum average of 67 and a maximum average of 85. And this is PLO and Michael Sam's Sections Insight demo. Thank you for watching.